Chances are you've heard about search and rescue dogs, but how about a search and rescue otter?
Yeah, that's right. The cute, intelligent animals are being put to a whole new use. And one of those otters is from right here in Arizona. 12 News journalist Troy Hayden is joining us now in studio with this very unique story.
It's definitely interesting for sure. My wife Christy runs the Wildlife World Zoo, and she tipped me off on this story. It's a good one. The zoo recently donated an otter to a search and rescue group in Florida, and because otters are so smart and the only mammal that can detect odors underwater, the group thinks this little otter will soon do very big things.
We'll see. What? What do you think?
Meet Splash, one of the world's first ever search and rescue otters. An animal born right here in the valley, now being trained to find evidence and victims using his very unique abilities. Veteran search and rescue diver Mike Hadsell came up with this program.
I had read an article that said that otters were the only mammals that have odor detection underwater. And I kept thinking to myself, well, why can't we get these guys to work for us? Is it possible to do that?
Not only is it possible, it's working. Search and rescue diving is dangerous work. Swift currents, near zero visibility, underwater hazards. Divers use guide ropes to sometimes blindly follow grids in their search, using their hands to feel for victims and objects. In Florida, has its own unique water search challenges.
They get into a canal or a river, and an alligator gets to them before we do. The gator will take the remains and stuff it somewhere, and it makes it very difficult to find. And so the dogs get us into the area, but they can't get us from the boat to the bottom and show us exactly where it's at. So the otter was designed to get us from the boat to the bottom and show us exactly where the remains are located.
That's amazing. It's crazy how they can do that.
Jeff Beals is the aquarium curator at the Wildlife World Zoo in the West Valley. The zoo donated Splash free of charge to the search and rescue program in Florida. Jeff knows otters have amazing skills for this job.
Not only can they smell items underwater, they can also pick up on cues, on trails, smell trails. So, an item might be way down there, but because it's been dissolved underwater and the water is moving toward the otter, they can pinpoint right to it because they get the trail.
So otters don't exactly smell water. They smell their own breath under the water. It's an interesting process.
It's a bubble technique. What they'll do, Troy, is they'll go underwater and they will expire a breath cycle. So exhale, inhale, and they'll
Shooting the air out of their mouth and
shooting
pulling
the
it back
bubbles
in?
and pulling it right back in. Like I said, up to about 10 times a second. And that allows them to more or less taste the water, smell the water.
So right now, Mike is working daily with Splash in his pool in Florida, helping him hone his skills, hiding a scent, in this case, behind his pool light. And Splash goes right to it. And even though he's not fully trained yet, Splash is already helping solve crimes. He found a key piece of evidence while Mike was recently at an active scene, and he was persuaded by searchers to put Splash into the water to help. So he sniffed out the scent and went down and alerted to it.
Threw a marker, and the diver went in, and there it was.
In the next couple of months, Splash should be fully trained to help divers go directly to victims and evidence. Skeptics once questioned the idea, but now using a search and rescue otter doesn't seem so crazy.
Oh, that's nuts. You can't do it, all this stuff. And now they're watching the videos. They're seeing his training progress. And I was just out on a case this weekend, and the guy from Fish and Wildlife came up to me and he says, I want you to get me an otter because I want to do this too.
So we may see more search and rescue otters. Mike says Splash has another month or two of training before he's really ready to work in the field. So we'll follow up with him soon to see how Splash is doing.